Okay, I was gone for a few days, but what I did before I left, this is just the life of a gardener, right? I needed to move everything out of the greenhouse because everything was just getting cooked in there. But there's just a lot going on, so I'm just going to make one video about what's going on. This is now towards the end of May. So those other videos that I just released, that was more towards the beginning of May. Okay, so here's what's going on. Starting at the kitchen garden, I'm just going to do this really quick, but these are just putting on the most beautiful show. I didn't want you to miss it. But these tiger lilies are intermixed with, this is the irises that have already played out. These are some potatoes that I'm fixing to dig up. I've already dug up the ones in the front beds, and I guess I will post a video. I guess I'll post a picture of where I weigh them, and then I put them in my harvest tracker. We still have the garlic in the ground. These are the potatoes, and you can tell when they're done because they just start looking meh, not too great. The lettuce is still doing okay, and the bok choy is doing okay. But we have the asparagus. This is what it looks like when it's growing. We have some beans coming up. Here's what the goji berries look like. Let's see if I can find some fresh flowers. So where the flowers are there, that's where the fruit will be. There's some fruit right there coming up. Here's what's going on here. So I was getting ready to go out of town, and I moved everything out of the greenhouse and over here. So this is just a lot more comfortable for me to work. I brought the wheelbarrow over so I can have my compost or where I make my own potting mix here, and it's a lot more comfortable until I get these in the ground. So there's some snapdragons I need to get in the ground, some marshmallow, just some things I need to pot up, but I have just got things everywhere. So that is what's going on. This is the the new greenhouse, the new nursery, I should say, the new nursery. Yeah, a lot of stuff I need to still get in the ground. Some cosmos, some tomatoes, some basil, some peppers, some parsley, some roselle hibiscus, just some things I need to get in the ground. Okay, so let's go check out the front beds. When I got in yesterday, I was just so tired. You know how when you've been on the road all day, you just want to sit. So I did go out and I looked at everything just kind of quickly. Okay, this is what we got going on the front bed. Okay, so here's some lettuce, and I can tell it's looking good. We can still eat that, but it's time for this stuff to come out. This cilantro is really starting to bolt and put on some seed, and the borage is looking pretty good. Let's see. The cabbage is still growing nicely. We got our lettuce, bok choy. Now this is some bok choy that's gone to seed, but let's see. That's a pretty little head of cabbage right there. This is spiderwort right here. And then this, I'll be cutting this off at the base rather than come again because it's time for them to come out. That pretty purple. But I'm gonna try to keep this alyssum here. I don't want to disturb the roots on that. And the moonflower's coming along. Got some new blooms. Some new blooms coming up, also called thorny apple, Jimson weed, and then the salvia, good old reliable, dependable salvia. I'll probably be making a flower arrangement out of that. Then I had tucked some purple cabbage in here with some marigolds. Some of the marigolds that started flowering, but I tucked it up under there so it would have kind of an overstory position. And but from back here it looks really pretty. All right, let's check out the front beds. Now I did pull some potatoes from the front bed. Let's see. Okay, So the sweet alyssum is coming along nicely. It's really filled in. If you go back and look at some of the other videos that I did, it was just this little bitty straggly looking plant when I put it in there. And now it's really starting to fill in quite nicely. This is some cauliflower. Then we've got some, oh, there's some on there. Let me get in here. This is where the horseradish is. I had to pull some of this larkspur out, and I made a little flower bouquet for my mom for Mother's Day. But this is where the horseradish is coming up. And then we have some sweet peas. I need to come pick these. I don't think I'm gonna do it right now because I'm gonna need both of my hands. But I'm kind of on top of and inside the apple guild right here. But the salvia, it's just gorgeous and it smells heavenly. Let's see. All right. I do need to come harvest some of this stinging nettle. I'm not going to touch it right now because I don't have gloves on, but I'm going to be harvesting that. And then we have ranunculus coming up in here and some alliums right here. Now I did pull out the potatoes from right here. So this is where the potatoes are growing. And if you look at the past videos of the front porch or the front beds, this is where I had the potatoes growing right here. And these are the ones I pulled out. I put in peppers and I put in snapdragons. And this is the tall type snapdragons, so those are gonna fill in really nicely. And let's see if we can find any apples on this apple tree. This is the Gala apple tree. There's one right there. They're kind of sneaky. They're hard to see. Let me see if I can. We have some purple cabbage up in here as well. Up in here. These are some 4 o'clocks. Let's see. Some borage. Some ranunculus. They're taking their sweet time coming up in here. I've already pulled some onions, but there's one right there. You know, you have the ornamental alliums, but the real alliums, the garlic and the onions look pretty good too. We've got some lavender. Really need to take some cuttings. But you know, life happens and don't get to do everything you want to do. Then we have some oregano. This is about to put on a show. We've got some okra coming up in here. Some okra. And this is kind of this is what you see from the street view. So we have elderberry. This is poke salad right here. We've got more stinging nettle I'm gonna come harvest. We've got some more oregano up in there. And there's more okra planted in this spot right here. Then we have more moonflower. And this larkspur is about to be done, but I'm letting it go to seed. And I meant to look at the Granny Smith apple tree. This one right here is really struggling. The drought really took a toll, but the plum trees are full. Yeah, the drought really took a toll on everything last year, but I was just trying to keep the fruit trees alive at that point, really. Okay, so this is what I call my river of mulch. I kind of think of those as the bank, and this is the grass is the river. It's just a wavy pattern. And this is really just from about a week ago. The plums are really starting to turn colors. I did taste one the other day. It was still very tannic and that pucker effect, but there's plums all over the plum trees. And this is that little area. I knew, so we had some deer come in. Okay, so, and they went around and they just cleaned up all of the purslane that I had here. You know, maybe what I need to do is just plant purslane all across. I have plenty. So it's kind of a decoy so they don't go. But I can tell they went in and they were eating on this cabbage and cauliflower. First, I didn't know, I wasn't sure, but you can tell they pulled it up by the roots. So Not sure if that little guy's gonna make it. They pulled up one there. They pulled up the whole plant and just ate it that way. And we've got plums all over this plum tree right here too. See, I'm seeing a lot on the ground. I'll pick one of those up and taste it, but they're I can tell, I know they're not ready yet. Those might be ready. That one might be ready. You can check that. Looks like, yeah, the deer got my beans back here. So I am about to set up my motion detector deer water sprinklers. But I could tell, see, here's the oregano. It's starting to bloom. It's not gonna look like this. It's not gonna look like little berries. It's gonna look like, these are just kind of a bud, and then they're gonna put on flowers. We've got thyme, sage, beans. Oh, yep, they ate on the peppers. Pomegranate trees there and there. And then we have the artichokes. It's really interesting in the other bed. I hope you stay until I get to the other bed. But so the tomatoes, these are all safe, which they do usually eat the tomatoes and the basil. Remember from the last video, it's tomatoes, basil, tomatoes, basil, tomatoes, basil. They didn't seem to find it yet, but I'm surprised because I see hoof prints all in here. It looks like they got to about right here. See, there's some hoof prints here. So I am getting ready to set up. I didn't have this on. I had it on a timer, which doesn't work. So the motion detector sprinkler, it can't be on a timer. So I have to set up the motion detector sprinkler on its own. How to explain this? So when the timer is off, the water is off. So yeah. Okay, so this was the biggest heartbreak right here. He got my watermelon. But you know what? This plant's not done. It's going to grow more leaves, but I just need to get these. I just ordered some more motion detector sprinklers. So yeah, it just looks like they went around and munched on. This is just a weed right here, but I can see where they munched on that. They didn't bother the catnip, which is really interesting. They don't generally like aromatic herbs. They didn't bother the herbs. This is the telltale sign right here. Some deer scat. There's some right there. So they didn't bother the bachelor buttons. They didn't bother the Shasta daisies. They didn't seem to bother the buckwheat, which is good. Here's a few beans. They found that one. But here's still a few here. But when they get big and bushy, they'll really like those. So I've got to set up a sprinkler in this bed as well, or a motion detected sprinkler. Okay. Oh, bummer. Yeah, but it looks like they just went around and munched on a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm seeing oregano here that they didn't bother. But I did see that they did munch on the olive trees. Or it looked like it from back there, yeah. And I've heard, I did not know this because this is my first time to grow olive, that these olive leaves are good medicinally. I guess they're not aromatic, so it's kind of a deer diary moment. Yeah, they really munched on it here. They left that culinary sage alone though. Okay, let's check out the sunflowers. See what happened there. I've already looked around here. I haven't looked at this side yet, but I did see I was like, what in the world? Because this blueberry plant I just planted this year, it was about this tall. It was about a foot taller, and they really munched on those. So I need to set up a motion detector sprinkler here. But I saw that, yeah, they took, they didn't bother the chamomile. I don't see any signs of them bothering the chamomile. But I did see this, where they really just took that off. It was kind of like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I saw that on some of the other sunflowers. Yeah, that one. You can tell. Yeah, and I can tell they took some leaves. You know, they just took a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's not like they came in and just decimated the whole thing. This one is a little worse for wear. They took the leaves off of just one side. Lazy. But they just really didn't seem to bother the chamomile at all, which I'm glad. I'm happy about that. Yeah, here's the other blackberry plant. So this one was pretty tall, and they did munch on that. Now, if I can get this established and growing along these cables and growing that way, yeah, they might have gone in there and munched on that, but really, they're looking for the leaves. These blackberry leaves are very nutritious, so I just need to get it to the point where it's big enough to fend for itself. I'm gonna look down this side because I haven't been down this side yet. I just planted a whole bunch of, oh yeah, it looks like they like these. These are those black-eyed Susan Rudbeckia. But yeah, it looks like they took a little off of all of them. Dadgummit. This is some that a chef friend of mine gave me, some Genovese tomatoes. There was 3 here. I only see 1 now. Dadgummit. Oh, no, there's 1. I think it got 1 of them because I have 2 left. So the idea is that I'll do a Kentucky weave and I'll grow the tomatoes sideways like that. But yeah, they liked these black-eyed Susans. Didn't touch the oregano. Oh, wow, look at that. They really took these black-eyed Susans down to the nub. Okay, interesting. You know, this is as much for my purposes as it is for anybody else. It's really kind of a Dear Diary thing because if I don't write it down, and a lot of times I don't have time to write it down, then I won't remember what I need to protect and what they don't like. Because you'll read all these things, they'll say, oh, this is deer proof or this is rabbit proof or whatever, but until you do it, then you see. Now, if an animal is hungry enough, they'll eat just about anything. So, okay, now I'm coming into what I saw. Well, I did my walkabout, like when I first got home. I was tired, but I thought, I'm just gonna go check on everything, see what's going on. Well, the first thing I noticed, this is my super duper tomato trellis hugel 2, hugel culture bed 2. This is the first thing I noticed. All of the corn was pushed over. So it's like they just went in through here and just walked on it. So yeah, I didn't know what happened. I didn't know if somebody drug a hose through there or if the rain knocked it down, the wind knocked it down, what. But that was a deer. I know now because of all the other signs. But this is some zucchini. This is one that I had thrown this basket over to protect it. And this one and that one, they just ate it down to the nub. Well, not to the nub, but they just ate it down. So I'm not too worried about it. Actually, I'm thinking that where I was with some family, we were talking about, like, what's the point of mosquitoes? What's the point of flies? Like, what is their place in the ecosystem, right? Well, one of the things that I can think of in this case is zucchini and squash, its biggest threat is powdery mildew. So one of the things that I do with to prevent powdery mildew is I just kind of thin the plant out, because powdery mildew comes from, it's a fungus where it's just from too much humidity. So I'll thin out some of the leaves, and that will prevent the sequestration of too much humidity. So this plant is probably going to be just fine. But that one right there, yeah, it's got some new leaves coming up. But this is really interesting. When it comes to edible landscaping, I said, you know, it camouflages it from the deer. Well, that one was just big fat in the open, right? But this right here, I thought was really interesting. You know, they did kind of go munch here, munch there, just kind of like, oh, just kind of like you're at a dinner party. Oh, I'll take a little bit of this, I'll take a little bit of that. But these, I walked around, now I'm on the other side. Now these right here, okay, so it does, this is Rudbeckia. This is a wild type. I don't know what kind this is, but it's like a black-eyed Susan. It has the same kind of leaf. It grows wild. I just let it grow every year. And I was a little bit concerned about the sequestration of humidity and holding down the humidity so that it might suffer from white powdery mildew. But I did not pull these out because these are so pretty. But I knew that I was probably going to end up pulling these out. But the deer didn't find that at all. Didn't find that one. And I'm seeing little squashes on it. Let me see if I can get in. This is one of the places I saw the snake, so I'm not going to go up in there while I'm filming. But so you can see there's some squash. This is my yellow squash, crookneck squash area. That over there is my zucchini area. And usually 3 plants is enough. I do see where they got some of the outside leaves. Like there's a place where it got one. There's a place where it got one. But it's fine. It's gonna be fine. There's some cilantro. Now coriander. These little seeds, whenever they turn brown, that'll be coriander. And then this is where I have some potatoes. And then I did see where, this is where I'm growing my cherry tomatoes. I did see where they didn't get, there's some little tomatoes on there. They didn't get all of the tomatoes, but I did see where they were eating on these. So I am going to need, again, this is kind of note to self here, I'm gonna need a motion detector sprinkler on that end and on this end. And I wish I had a game camera to see it. But we have the Cracker Jack marigolds, the sweet alyssum, the cherry tomatoes. We've got a cucumber, and it's all, this little fence here has got a big job to do. And then the same thing mirrored on this side with a little bit of dill that just came up on its own. It smells so good. So you could see here where they just ate the tomatoes. They like the leaves. So it's not like they just went in and said, you know what, I'm gonna eat all the tomatoes, or I'm gonna eat all the beans. They just kind of did what they wanted. So I'm gonna have to figure out, do I want to try to stand this corn back up again? Or, and they were just about to put on their tassels. That corn in the back is just fine, but the first thing I have to figure out is how to deal with these pests, these 4-legged pests that we've got going on here. But this corn right here is doing just fine. And I did see where they were eating on the tomatoes. This one got eaten down pretty good. But I did see that my Cherokee purple tomato, it's got some tomatoes growing on it. They're really not after the fruit, they're after the leaves, in my experience. So I've been weaving these in and out. Yeah, I see where they got it there. So let me see. Yeah, the cucumbers they didn't find. They seem to like the cucumber leaves as well. The cucumbers. Here's some tomatoes that kind of grew up on their own. I just let them grow there. Oh, looks like they pulled out a sweet pea, a sugar snap pea. And there's some more sugar snap peas. But they didn't seem to find the cucumbers, which I'm really glad. So I've got this one here. I just didn't have it set up. My bad. So I need to get these set up. I was really thinking maybe somebody got them, because where I live, it's just so many new people coming in, so much building going on, so many new houses. We're on 3 acres, where a lot of other people are on several acres too. And I thought, you know, we used to have this whole family of deer that would come through here. 10, 12 of them would just come through at one time, and it was so majestic to see. But last year it was a problem. I don't know if it was the drought or what, but the deer just kind of started eating everything. So while we're over here, let's go ahead and check on the peaches. So we've already picked a bunch of peaches from this tree. I see that there's a few that are, I knew that there was a few that I couldn't reach on this one. But this one has a bunch on it, a whole bunch. Yeah, they're getting bigger. They're getting bigger. Now, I live in Parker County, Texas, and we have the Parker County Peach Festival. They're famous. Parker County's famous for its peaches. Oh, that one is just heavy with peaches right there. That branch, and that one, and that one. Let me see, let me get closer. This branch is really leaning over because of the weight of all the peaches. And this one's got some on it, and then we've got 2 more over there. So we'll be picking those peaches. But the Parker County Peach Festival is usually, it's in June or July. I don't remember. It's always the second weekend of June. I don't know. It's hot whenever they have it. So anyway, let's check out these grapes. Yeah, they're coming along nicely. Getting bigger. Grape jelly. I forgot to mention the potatoes, so I have more potatoes growing in this area right here. This is potatoes mixed with some of these wild type Rudbeckia. So let's go over to, whoops. So let's go over to the peach trees, the other peach trees we had growing here. Oh, pecans are forming. Little bitty ones. Sure. The branches aren't usually this low. We usually cut them back so we can drive through on the tractor. But yay. You never know with pecans. Some years you have really good crops, and sometimes you don't have good crops at all. Which is true for the peach trees. It's good. It's true for cucumbers. It's true for tomatoes. Sometimes you have really good years. Usually you'll have a really good year with one thing, and then maybe a not so good year with something else. That's been my experience anyway. Okay, so these are the peach trees that were here when we moved here. We had to really trim this back, but they're coming along. Let's see. Bug. Yeah, this one's got lots of peaches on it. Usually I don't thin the fruit because the wind and the storms do it for me. And then, oh my gosh, this tree, we need to trim back. So both of these trees were as tall as this tree. I don't know how tall that is. It's tall. And then we trimmed this one back and it just started doing great. And this one has peaches all over it. I don't know how we're gonna get those peaches, but we're gonna have plenty of peaches. So let's go check on the plums. This is the wild plum. These are coming along great. They're looking good. These don't get that big. So these don't get as big as the other plums. They get a little bit bigger than this, but these are doing good. This is kind of what I call my walkabout. I hear Mick Dundee in my head. I'm gonna go on my walkabout. Just in the first thing in the morning when it's cool outside and I just wanna see what's going on. But I haven't been over to this bed yet. This is a hugel 2. I'm coming in on the back side. I wanna know, because I planted some watermelons over here as well. Did they get in here? Oh, yeah. So this is the one where I saw the snake. Or both of them were hugel culture beds, but this is one where I saw the snake, so I want to be careful filming and yeah, PTSD. But I put this little basket over this watermelon plant. I don't think the deer will be out during the day, so I'm going to take that and move it. But it didn't get that plant. And then I have a few more in and around here. Oh, so pretty. Salvia. Step back out. Check and see what's going on with this bed. Yeah, I can't imagine that it would be worth so more sunflowers, white salvia. This is, I'm face to face with this because the hugel culture bed is raised up about 3 feet off the ground. More sunflowers. They didn't find this bed, evidently. We've got marigolds, we've got the cabbage, and then these tiger lilies are about to bloom, and those tiger lilies are about to bloom. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, we got another watermelon plant up in there. And the idea was, and then I've got some more stinging nettle that I can harvest right there. But yeah, I know that's a super long video, but I thought rather than breaking it all up, like here's a look at all of it at the same time, because for myself, this is what's going on towards the end of May. The tiger lilies are blooming. It's time to dig the potatoes up. The plums are almost ready. Some of the peaches have been ready. The deer are out. It's too hot in the greenhouse. The cabana has now been turned into the nursery. I'm gonna be organizing all of this. I'm gonna take it and just kind of make it where it's all workable for me, because I'm getting ready to make some hypertufa. But here's one thing I didn't mention. This wisteria is doing great. As generally, as a rule, wisteria is very fast growing. And so I've been kind of taking these little wispies here and then training them on the wire that I've put up right there. So I'll see, there's some right there that I need to train. I want it to go, let me get back out. So I want it to train it to go that way and train it to go that way. And I didn't put one on that end because that's where we have the grill and it's just smoky all the time. So, and I've got to move all these, but I've got to train some on this wire that I've put up right here. So it kind of goes over like that. So this is just a little building that was there whenever we first moved here, and they were parking under here and using that for storage. But we kind of turned it into our outdoor kitchen for now. So anyway, that is what is going on May the 24th. Not sure when I'll get this video uploaded, but Captain's Log, Gardener's Log, May 24th, 2023. Bye for now.